Think about the last time you bought a bag of coffee. You might have checked the label to see if it was grown without harsh chemicals or if the farmers were paid fairly. It's a simple choice for one person. But imagine you are a corporate buyer, and your shopping list includes 10,000 laptops, tons of raw steel, and a fleet of company cars. At that scale, your shopping choices influence entire global supply chains. That massive scale is where sustainable procurement comes in. It's the process of finding the things a business needs while making sure the planet is protected, workers are treated fairly, and the costs stay under control. Companies are moving toward this approach because of two main pressures. First, governments are passing strict environmental laws regarding waste and carbon emissions. If companies don't follow these rules, they face heavy fines. Second, customers are paying closer attention to how products are made. If a business ignores these values, buyers often move to a competitor who prioritizes them. This tree growing out of a stack of coins represents the final two pressures: investors and local communities. Investors look for stability, and they see strong environmental and social habits as a sign that a company is a safe, long-term bet. Meanwhile, local communities are pushing for factories that don't pollute their air or water. When you combine these legal, social, and financial factors, it becomes clear that sustainable buying is now an essential part of how an organization manages its risks and protects its profits. To manage all these moving parts, companies use an environmental management system, or EMS. You can think of this as the organizational engine that keeps their green efforts running smoothly. This chart shows the loop that powers an EMS. In the plan phase, the company sets specific goals. In the do phase, they act on them. The check phase involves monitoring the results, and the act phase is for making adjustments. Because it's a circle, the company is constantly looking for ways to improve. To prove this system is working, companies align their loop with international standards, like ISO 14001. Earning that certification gives them an official way to show the world they are committed to these practices. This structural loop turns good intentions into a series of measurable, trackable habits that the company repeats and refines every day. To put this into action, companies follow a four-step playbook. Step 1 is identifying needs. You can think of this as writing a very smart corporate grocery list. The first strategy is to reduce the amount of stuff you buy, which prevents overstock from turning into waste. The second is to rethink traditional purchases. For example, instead of buying a fleet of printers, a company might lease them, allowing the manufacturer to eventually recycle the parts. When a purchase is necessary, the third strategy is to choose products from green or ethical sources. Look at these roasted coffee beans. A sustainable buyer tracks exactly where these were grown to ensure the soil was protected and the workers were paid a living wage. The final strategy is redesigning the company's own products. By changing how a product is built, designers can often remove the need for harmful materials or toxic chemicals entirely. This first step helps companies realize that the most sustainable shopping choice is often finding a way to work with what they already have.
Once the company knows what it needs, we move to step 2, sourcing and pre-selection. This diagram shows two ways to set up a supply chain. The thick line is single sourcing, relying on one trusted partner. The multiple thinner lines are multi-sourcing, using several different suppliers for the same item to keep prices competitive and ensure the company always has a backup. Companies can also use parallel sourcing. This is where they use one main supplier for one product, but a completely different strategy for another product line. After choosing a strategy, the company creates a short list of potential partners. This graphic shows the rules they follow when sending questionnaires. The questions must be clear, tied to company goals, explained thoroughly, and followed up with feedback so suppliers aren't left in the dark. During this check, the company looks at the supplier's bank account to make sure they are financially stable and checks that their technology is modern and efficient. They also look for specific green badges. As you can see in this matrix, they check for ISO 14000 or EMAS to ensure the supplier tracks their impact on nature. They also look for ISO 5001, which shows the supplier is using less electricity and fuel to do their work. On the social side, they look for SA 8000 to ensure workers are treated fairly without discrimination, and OHSAS 18001, which proves the supplier keeps their workplace physically safe for employees. This pre-selection process acts as a filter, making sure only the most responsible and stable vendors are allowed to compete for the job. With a short list of approved vendors ready, it's time for step 3, evaluating the competitive bids, sometimes called tenders. This is the final look at the specific proposals and price tags from the suppliers. To make a choice, buyers use a vendor rating system. They give each bid a score that balances the price against the supplier's environmental and social performance. This keeps the company from just choosing the cheapest option if that vendor has poor sustainability habits. Once a supplier is chosen and the contract is signed, the company moves to the final step, vendor control and contract management. The company keeps tracking the supplier's performance over time to make sure they don't let their standards slip. They also hold workshops where suppliers can meet and share their best ideas for saving energy or reducing waste. This management step ensures the process continues long after a contract is signed. It focuses on maintaining a partnership where both the buyer and seller work together to keep improving their standards over time. Following these 4 steps brings clear benefits to the company. They lower their costs, improve the quality of their products, and build a better reputation with the public. These solar panels in a modern city show how large-scale business and sustainability work together. This creates a chain reaction. When a major buyer insists on high standards, their supplier has to update their local operations to keep the contract. That supplier then passes those same requirements down to the people they buy from, moving these better habits through the entire global network. By changing how they shop, large organizations use their buying power to encourage the entire global economy to become greener, safer, and fairer for everyone.